Okay, so you're thinking about moving to Amarillo, Texas, but you're unsure of the area, what time of year to move, what schools you're going to go to, what's the affordability in housing like. I'm going to answer all these questions and even a surprise question that you may not have thought about if you stick around to the end of the video. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm Derek Manasco, and I am the co-owner of the Impact Real Estate team, and we are your relocation specialist of choice for the Amarillo, Texas, and surrounding areas. We get phone calls, texts, and emails every day from folks just like you who are looking to relocate and move to our area here in Amarillo, Texas. If you would be so kind, go ahead and scan this QR code. That's going to get you a one-on-one direct call that you can book with me to go over the steps on how to get you and your family here to Amarillo, Texas and make it as smooth as possible. So the first thing is going to be the obvious, right? What is affordability like? Well, actually, Amarillo is over $100,000 cheaper than the median national sales price. What does that mean for you? Well, if you're coming from an area across the country where affordability is pretty low and home prices are pretty high, that's going to be a breath of fresh air for you. Let's just go ahead and break that down a little bit. Let's say our home is $450,000 here in Amarillo, Texas. So that's roughly $3,200 a month for your mortgage payment, taxes, and insurance. And then our electric bills hovering around $300 a month on average. We do not have gas where we live. That's not necessarily uncommon. There are a lot of neighborhoods with gas. It's just particular and specific to this neighborhood, we don't have gas. So our utility bill is around $300. And then your average gas cost is going to be $2.49 at the time of filming this video per gallon. And then going to urgent care or going to visit your doctor, what are healthcare costs like? Well, depending on your insurance coverage, we just paid $30 for a copay visit for our son to go to urgent care because he was sick recently. And so I hope that gives you a good idea of the total cost of affordability of living in Amarillo, Texas. Let's move on to number 2, the weather. So Amarillo is actually the second windiest city in America. Some have it listed as the number 1, some have it listed as the number 3. So we're just going to stick with the middle and say it's number 2 with an average daily mile per hour wind speed of just over 16 miles an hour a day. That's just a normal average day. So if you're coming from the upper northwest or some of the other areas off some of the Smoky Mountains or other areas where you don't really see a lot of wind or varying wind, Amarillo is going to be a different change of pace when it comes to the weather because we have more windy days than we have non-windy days. A whole lot more. Now, it's something that as you live here, you just kind of get used to. So it's nothing in a way that can deter you. I will tell you, however, we do get up to 70, 80, 90 mile an hour gusts whenever we do have fronts coming in the storm seasons. And we can have everything changing in a day's time from 93 degrees all of a sudden in the afternoon could be freezing and snowing. That doesn't happen very often, but there are very dynamic changes in the weather. So one thing you're going to want to do before you move here is you're going to want to look at the calendar and schedule your move around good weather days because you definitely do not want to be caught here in Amarillo when a northern's coming through and we're about to get a blizzard or snow and have a ton of cold wind chill in the wintertime. And you definitely don't want to do that also in the late spring whenever we're kind of in what we call tornado season or storm season, and you can get big massive thunderstorms and supercell storms that can produce tornadic activity. You can have large size hail, you can have damaging winds, tons of rain, and so just wanted to be prepared for that whenever you schedule your move. Along with that, Amarillo sees about 20 inches on average of rainfall a year. And then snowfall averages around 18 inches a year. So we are over 300 days, usually and typically in sunshine here in Amarillo, Texas. I hope that gives you a good idea of the weather. Now let's move on to number 3, the taxes. So versus living in Oregon or some other areas across the country, you don't have a state tax here in Amarillo, Texas or in Texas. You do, however, have a sales tax of 8.25% here in Amarillo, which is pretty high. So just keep that in mind because I feel like whether you're in a state that does require you to have state tax, there's going to be offsets versus here in Amarillo where, like I mentioned, your sales tax is going to be quite a bit higher. The other tax we need to talk about are property taxes. Amarillo is pretty high on property taxes. It's typically around 1.9% depending on where you purchase a home in Amarillo, Texas. That's going to be the average property tax rate and percentage based off of your home value. Now let's go ahead and move on straight into number 4, which is going to be jobs. What does the job market look like here in Amarillo, Texas? Well, it's very strong. Amarillo, Texas is the second fastest growing mid-sized city in the United States. So with that comes a lot of job opportunities and a lot of employers. So Tyson Foods was the biggest one here recently in a poll with 3,700 employees. Another one right behind them is going to be Amarillo Independent School District, which is about 3,600. And then you have Pantex, you have Baptist St. Anthony's, which is a hospital. You have the City of Amarillo, you have Northwest Healthcare Systems, which is another hospital. You have Bell Textron, you have Amarillo College, we have Amazon, Buc-ee's is coming soon. There's so many different diverse jobs. Along with that, on agriculture, we have over 14 million acres around Amarillo being used as farmland, with the majority of the crops going to be corn, wheat, and cotton. We also have a high level of milk production and cattle, along with hay and other crops as well. So along with those employers, along with the agriculture, we have a lot of small businesses, we have a lot of sustaining businesses, financial divisions, we have as I had already mentioned, healthcare. We also have universities here with Texas Tech's sister campus. We also have nursing schools. We have Amarillo College, which is a public school. We have West Texas A&M University, which is 10 minutes down the road in Canyon. So there's a lot of different diverse job opportunities when considering moving to Amarillo, Texas. So I would not wait until you actually get to Amarillo, Texas to start your application process. A lot of these employers are going to want to see you going through the process before they hire you. I know that can be, you got 1,000 things on your plate. That could be just adding one more stressor to it. But I would highly encourage you to go ahead and start that process if you are relocating and looking for employment here, because that will also help determine your lendability when you talk to a mortgage loan officer or a bank. Number 5 is going to be, should you live inside or outside Amarillo, and what do the options look like? Well, I think that all depends on you. Are you a city person? Do you like being in a more urban feel setting? Do you like kind of old-timey, almost that, Tudor style charm? Then you're going to want to look into the Wolfland area over by Amarillo College, where you still have brick pavers on the streets and you have some wonderful old style architecture. And then, or are you somebody that just wants a really nice neighborhood to move into? And you can look at the Bivens area in North Amarillo. You can look at the Woodlands. You can also look in Southwest or Southeast Amarillo. We have a lot of new construction going on. Or are you more of wanting to be out in the country and you don't want to have neighbors right next to you? Well, then maybe you're looking at a Bushland or a River Road or a Wildorado, or even on the outskirts of Canyon or somewhere in between Amarillo and Canyon. Thank you for watching this video. Go ahead and give us a like. Drop us a comment on anything that you have questions about. I'd love to answer and get right back to you. And then please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss any of the other episodes. Matter of fact, if you hit the notification bell, you'll get alerted on any new episode that we put out. Really appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you so much for your support. Can't wait to serve you and your family in moving and relocating to Amarillo, Texas.